Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev as the UFC's top choice to be the main event of UFC 300. And also, something else I wanted to break down for you guys is Henry Cejudo firing his coach on Countdown, and then that same coach going over to work with Merab against Henry Cejudo, apparently, according to Merab. So we're going to break down some of this news, which is just some of the crazier news we've had over the past few months. We've got a story by Ariel Helwani here. Take it with a pinch of salt, I understand. However, I don't think he would really make up. He's clearly heard some kind of rumor here. He mentions on his podcast or on his show that there's a few matchups that they're trying to work towards, which I'll play in a second. We might as well play it straight away, actually. Let's listen to what Ariel Helwani said first, and then we can talk about the idea of this matchup.
I think that the top choice is Leon versus Khamzat. This could all fizzle out, and I think we'll find out in the next few days. But I believe that is the top choice at the moment. I also believe those other three fights are at play as well. Leon Bilal, Izzy DDP, and Khamzat DDP as well.
So in 2 of the 4 matchups that are in play to be the main event of UFC 300, Khamzat Chimaev is involved from what Ariel Helwani's hearing behind the scenes. So Khamzat Chimaev is definitely in discussion to fight someone soon. He's in discussion to fight Dricus du Plessis at UFC 300. He's also in discussion to fight against Leon Edwards, allegedly. And that's the top choice, as Ariel Helwani just said. There's also choices of Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. I personally believe that Dricus is not going to be involved in UFC 300. He just got done beating Strickland as a champion. He's not going to... And it was a 5-round scrap. If he would have flatlined Strickland in round 1 and took no damage, maybe then there'd be some kind of understanding on whether or not he could be at UFC 300. He got scrappy. Both guys took damage. There's no way he's going to be at UFC 300. He might end up being and save the day. That'd be good of him. I don't think it'd be wise for his career, though. And I feel like they're basically trying to have Dricus du Plessis lose to either Israel Adesanya or Khamzat Chimaev. But, as Ariel said, the main matchup that is front-running as of right now is Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev. This dude ain't making weight. If they really think they can pull this off. Oh, Khamzat Chimaev, by the way, we're trusting you to make weight at welterweight, where you couldn't make weight before at welterweight. So a part of me doesn't believe this information, but maybe this is just how desperate the UFC's getting. Because I didn't even think this was in the mix. I thought, oh, please, first of all, don't let it be Leon Edwards, Bilal Muhammad. You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like the UFC is trying their very, very best to prevent the main event being Edwards versus Muhammad, but it's the only one they've got a guarantee for. Is it sounding like that to anyone else? I'm terrified of this. I'm terrified. With the idea of, it could be du Plessis Adesanya, it could be du Plessis Chimaev, it could even be Edwards Chimaev, or it could be Bilal versus Edwards too. It sounds like that's the only one they've got a guarantee on, and it's their last resort. And they know that that would absolutely destroy the UFC 300 pay-per-view by ruining the main event slot and meaning that no one would buy it. And then they just don't want that to happen. But it sounds like that's the only one that they can make happen if they can't make some kind of other goofy fight make sense. Now, is this matchup funny because it means Bilal Muhammad might not get a title shot next and might have to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov? Yes, that's quite funny. But Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev, this should be an insane matchup. One, I don't trust Khamzat Chimaev to make 170 if he is going to go back down. He arguably is more deserving of a title shot at 170 than he is at 185, because at the end of the day, he still beat Usman. Even though it was at 185 on short notice, it's still the number 1 welterweight in the world at the time, Kamaru Usman. So there is an argument for it that I could see them trying to get across to us. Does Bilal deserve it more at 170 as of right now? 100%. But I like this matchup. I think, honestly, though, if anyone gets outside the first round with Khamzat Chimaev, he's in trouble, especially if he's draining himself back down to welterweight on not ideal circumstances after recently bulking himself up to be a 185er. Ramadan may help him shift that weight off. Maybe that would be a strategic move, and maybe why this is even being discussed at 170. But I think that's an advantage for Leon Edwards. He's going to have a better training camp. He's not going to have to limit what time he can take liquids and foods over a certain time. I know there's that sort of thing in Ramadan, so that's an interesting thing. I just think this is out of nowhere. This is out of nowhere. Can Ariel stop announcing things, by the way? Because I feel like the UFC, even if they did have this a done deal, would be like, fuck Ariel. We'll put Edwards Bilal Muhammad too. So please, Ariel, for MMA fans, shut up from now on. But thank you for this content, because this is great. But this would be the savior of that main event. Edwards versus Chimaev would be UFC 300 main event worthy. The only other thing they could do, and I have no idea why they can't pull this off, is McGregor Chandler. They both want to fight. They're both pushing for UFC 300. I know McGregor's probably asking for more for it to be at UFC 300 because he knows the UFC's in a desperate time of need. But surely you've got a couple extra million laying around somewhere where you could pay McGregor that extra amount to main event this card. I actually don't mind Edwards versus Chimaev, though. There's a belt on the line. It doesn't have to be above title fights on the card because it is a title fight. You know, McGregor not having a belt on the line maybe makes the title fights on the card not look as good, although one of them is a silly BMF matchup. But Edwards versus Chimaev, there's a title on the line. They're deserving of a main event. It's a matchup years in the making. Remember, Leon Edwards was one of the first people at the top of the rankings to accept the Khamzat Chimaev risk at the time. Maybe a bit more of an approachable matchup now, but back then it was a massive risk because Khamzat Chimaev was walking through people, and now he's barely scraping by split decisions against people way smaller than him. But either way, Leon Edwards was supposed to be the Strickland to Khamzat Chimaev's Pereira back in the day to get Chimaev to the belt. Didn't end up happening because Khamzat Chimaev pulled out. But I'm really looking forward to this if it does happen. I think this would be main event worthy. I think it'd sell a ton of pay-per-views. And, yeah, I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. And people are saying, doesn't make sense at all. Doesn't make sense at all. How is he even getting a title shot, dude? Stop wanting Bilal. I know it makes no sense. I absolutely know it makes no sense. But as of right now, the alternative is an injured DDP after 5 straight rounds against Strickland goes in very, very compromised against Adesanya or Chimaev, which I know is probably what the MMA fan base wants right now. Or it's Bilal Muhammad. Shavkat Rakhmanov's injured. It's kind of the only option. Unless they would have done Edwards versus Makhachev, which could have been a sick super fight. But I wouldn't mind if this got announced. And I think the craziness of it could add to the build-up of that card. So we'll see if this goes down. We move on to another story outside of what Ariel said. Henry Cejudo on the countdown. Oh my God, dude. This is something I want to discuss at the end of this video as well. First of all, I think Edwards would beat Khamzat Chimaev if that fight happened. I'm not saying I would pick that. I would obviously do more research. But I do think Edwards would be able to beat Khamzat Chimaev. I think he's got the takedown defense necessary and the jiu-jitsu ability to survive Chimaev. And then if he survives him, Chimaev will be in deep, deep trouble in the later rounds. But Edwards doesn't have the best of cardio and likes to fight at a slow pace. So maybe Chimaev could get it done. But I like that for Edwards on these circumstances. Chimaev bulked up to 185. Now he's got to drain back down to 170 during Ramadan. It just doesn't sound good to Chimaev. I just don't see them relying on Chimaev to make 170 to be the UFC 300 main event. Merab and Cejudo. Great promotion for their fight this is. So Henry Cejudo on Countdown yesterday fired Eric Albarracin, Super Eric, his coach with the funny glasses. No idea what this coach brings to the table, by the way. I've never understood what this coach brings to the table. But he's been Cejudo's coach for a long time. Since the beginning, I want to say. Maybe not since the beginning, but since the relevancy of Cejudo, at least. This guy's been around. Have a little look at this.
We have a Henry Cejudo's coach here with us. And now he's gonna teach how to beat Henry Cejudo.
We've got him with us. He's going to teach us how to beat Henry Cejudo.
Never.
And the guy says never. But the reason why this guy's even with Team Merab right now is because Cejudo did this on Countdown.
Well, Cap, I did want to talk to you, and you were with me for my last Olympic trials. You've been there for me, but as of right now, I just want to let you know, man, that for this camp, dude, I'm getting rid of specific coaches, man. Much you included, dude.
Hey, Countdown, get this on camera. I'm about to fucking roast this midget. You know, like, I have no idea why Cejudo thought, this is what I'm talking about with the autism of MMA fighters. Oh, Countdown crew, quick, get this. I'm about to fucking fire this fucking guy that's been there for me my entire career. What is the logic to this? Why catch this on camera? Why get the Countdown crew to rally around you while you do this on camera? I swear Cejudo's caught this guy with his wife or with his girlfriend. It's the only explanation. Why would you do this to your coach? Your longtime coach. Make sure you get the sound stick over the top here. Are we all mic'd up for this? You're fired. You know what I mean? Like, this is such a crazy move to pull on one of your most loyal coaches. I cannot believe that Cejudo did this. And look at the sadness on his face. And then a few moments later,
We have a new coach.
Merab's got... I'm not going to play this all the way through because the music might get copyrighted, but Merab's got his coach with him. Why does Merab have Cejudo's coach with him? I have no idea. One thing I do want to point out, though, is this. It seems very strange to me that Cejudo would do what he did in the first place, fire his longtime coach on camera, and then all of a sudden, within a very similar time frame, this coach is with Team Merab. Why is he with Team Merab? If he's not there to be with them and help them and get back at Cejudo or anything like that, what is he doing hanging around Merab right now? If he's not coaching Cejudo, why is he hanging around the Apex or wherever they're having this fight? I can't even remember the location of it, but still, I think it's in California or something. I'm not sure, but why is he even there? Why is he with Team Merab? If this is a move that Cejudo has pulled, I would not put this past him. This might be the most genius move of all time. That firing of his coach, made sure to be caught on Countdown, looked so weird to me. I would not be surprised if at the end of all of this, he fake fired this coach, who's then gone over to Team Merab, and Merab's there with him, posing with him, and talking to him. You know, this guy gonna help me beat Cejudo, brother. If this guy is still Team Cejudo, they faked a firing, made sure to put it on Countdown. Why would you want that on Countdown? Even if you're a coach, like this guy is, you could say, don't put that in, by the way. I do not consent to having that put in. That was an embarrassing moment for my life. Don't put that on Countdown, me getting fired. The fact that everyone signed off on that being on Countdown, and now he's hanging out with Merab. If he goes back to Cejudo after maybe watching a few Merab training sessions, that might be one of the more genius moves. Of course, Team Merab should be on edge about not letting this guy anywhere near them. But if Merab thinks it's haha funny, look, he's Team Merab now, we're going to do some training with him. And then all of a sudden, a couple days before this fight, this guy dips out of Merab's gym and all of a sudden he's back with Cejudo, telling him everything that went down. That would be an insane move from Cejudo. An insane move. And great promotion for the fight. So, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Just thought I'd talk about both situations. If this isn't some grand scheme, why fire this poor man on Countdown? He probably thought he was going to get like a motivational speech from you if this is real. And you just fired him in front of everyone. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.